Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Icon Edit, the show where we are becoming unbelievably gorgeous and disgustingly overeducated. My name is Monet. In a new space once again, always trying to figure out myself. My name is Monet, fellow icon in training and host of the show, so I do all the research. I share everything I learn with you guys, and you share anything and everything you know on the subject back with me, so we can all grow hotter and more educated together. With that said, be sure to invite all your family members, friends, anyone who is striving for an intellectual, physical, mental, emotional glow up. Be sure to invite them so we can build our community of fellow icons in training and we can all grow off of each other. My book of the week, I know I've mentioned it before, but Fast Like a Girl. Fasting is now a very big part of my life. I feel like it teaches me a lot of intentionality, especially since I am a woman and I have to be very aware of where my menstrual cycle is and what workouts I should be doing and fasting periods I should be doing in that point of time. And if you want to go a step deeper, it even gets into the certain foods you should be eating during certain cycles of your menstrual cycle, during certain levels of your menstrual cycle or what have you. I do have an episode about it, but Dr. Mindy Pels gets into all the science, all the research, and it is very, very well done, very informative, and very inspiring. So be sure to go check that out if you are serious about your hormonal health, physical health. If you want to be losing weight, toning up, anything like that, that is your Bible, let me tell you. Anyway, let's get into our subject of today because today's subject is so interesting. It is something I knew very little about getting into it. So today we're doing a cortisol crash course. Cortisol has been a buzzword, I feel like, for the past couple of years in a very negative way. I feel like we often blame cortisol for unreasonable stress. We blame it for bloating. We blame it for even like I've seen people's hair is less shiny because of cortisol. So today we're gonna either debunk or prove anything that you've heard and how to use cortisol as your superpower rather than letting it kind of bog you down, make you feel like you've gained weight, anything like that. So let's just get straight into it. Everyone has been told that cortisol is a stress hormone. I thought cortisol was strictly a stress hormone, and that is not technically wrong, but it is incomplete. And this incomplete version, this incomplete definition, is why people are not able to fix their cortisol problems. Cortisol is at its core an energy deployment hormone. Its primary job is to release glucose, blood sugar, into the bloodstream. This way your tissues have the energy, the fuel it needs to operate. So stress triggers cortisol. Yes, they are related, but waking up also triggers cortisol. So does working out. So does REM sleep. So what I'm trying to say is cortisol is not your enemy. It is very essential. And there are actually times of the day where you want to spike your cortisol. You want to have higher cortisol. It is cortisol in the wrong amounts at the wrong times that is causing problems. Cortisol is made in your adrenal glands, two small glands that sit on top of your kidneys. It follows a very specific daily rhythm if you have normal cortisol levels or if you're healthy. And this rhythm is very high in the morning, declining through the day, and very low at night. You really need it low at night in order for everything to work properly. This rhythm overall is everything high in the morning, declining slowly throughout the day, and very low at night. So when cortisol is your enemy, you notice a lot of very ugly side effects. You notice what is called moon face, and that is when your face looks puffier, it looks rounder, your nose looks bigger. You can also notice the thickness in your neck and in your midsection. So here's what is actually happening when you see those negative effects. After a couple weeks of high stress, you notice that your face is just not quite what it used to look like. You do notice weight gain in your midsection. This is what's happening. When cortisol is chronically elevated, meaning it is staying high during times of the day where it's supposed to be low, your body enters a state called hypercortisolism. And one of the most visible aspects of this is what we call moon face, when your body redistributes the fat into your face. Chronically high cortisol causes your body to redistribute fat. Specifically, it signals an accumulation of fat in your face, in your neck, especially the back of the neck, and that's what we call the buffalo hump. Ew, didn't know about that. And unfortunately, in the midsection. The face becomes rounder, fuller, and puffier. The jawline softens, and your neck thickens. So you can visibly see the effects of cortisol and unmanaged stress on your face, on your body, and honestly on your mental health. And while all this is happening, the weight redistribution into your face, your neck, and your midsection, your cortisol suppresses your immune system and begins to disrupt metabolic function, slowing your metabolism, making your immune system weaker, and slowing down the processes that should be keeping your body lean, clear, and efficient. This is not vanity. This is your body sending a biological distress signal through your face that your stress response system is dysregulated. So let's understand the 4 phases of cortisol and how cortisol moves throughout your day. To fully understand your cortisol problem, you have to understand how it's supposed to move. And it moves in 4 phases across your sleep and waking schedule. So phase 1 is early sleep, 4 hours before you go to bed and 2 hours after the lights are out and after you're in bed and your bedtime or what have you. There's very minimal cortisol production. Your body is almost completely suppressing it. It does not want energy going to your brain, to your muscle tissues. It is not necessary at this point in time. So it ideally should be extremely low. This is when your body is doing cellular repair, immune maintenance, and deep recovery. Phase 2 is mid-sleep. This is when your cortisol should start to gradually rise. Your body is preparing. You are still asleep, but the machinery is starting to warm up. Phase 3 is late sleep. So this is when you get into REM. This is when your brain is super active, actually more active than it is during your waking hours. And this requires an enormous amount of glucose. And what delivers glucose? Cortisol. So in the last hours of your sleep, your cortisol is rising significantly. You still want it to be you don't want it to be vertical, I guess. You want it to be a slope up, but it is rising at the quickest it will all day. And it's fueling your brain through its most intense nightly activity. Super quickly, if you've made it this far, I want to say something to you, specifically you intellectual baddie. The fact that you are here sitting with the science, actually trying to understand your biology, that is not common. Most people want the shortcut. You want understanding. This already tells me everything I need to know. You are the woman who absolutely belongs here. So if you feel like you're connecting with this information, you are actually diving in, be sure to subscribe because there is so much more. Let's get back into it. And then there's phase 4, and this is the cortisol awakening response. I'm just going to read from my notes for this one. You wake up because of cortisol. The cortisol spike happens, it hits a threshold, and your body registers as a signal to wake up. Okay. I'm back. My phone overheated. Like I said, I'm in a new space. And this room is very warm, very cozy, and that's kind of why I liked it and why I chose it. But my phone has overheated twice now in filming this episode. So didn't even think about that. I have a refrigerator right next to me. So I've been putting it in the fridge as it overheats to cool it down. And then I keep recording. So I've been recording this for a while now. But let's get back to it. You wake up because of cortisol. Cortisol hits a certain threshold, and that is your body's signal to wake up. And in the 30 to 90 minutes after your awakening, you have an open window to amplify that morning peak even further. So like I said earlier, we always say, oh, my cortisol's too high. This is what you need to lower your cortisol. There are points in the day where you want to absolutely spike your cortisol in order for your cortisol to follow the right pattern, be low at the right times, and get rid of all of those nasty side effects. And also give you let me just read my notes. I get excited. This window is called the cortisol awakening response, or CAR. And what you do in that window will define your energy, your mood, and your focus for the entire day. And it also determines how well you sleep that night. So let's get into what breaks this rhythm, this very low at night and very high in the morning rhythm, and why your face tends to pay the price. So here's where everything goes wrong, and I want you to think about your own life as I'm going through this. When cortisol stays elevated during phase 1, when it is high during those early hours of sleep when it is supposed to be very, very low, the negative feedback loop in your hypothalamus registers an abundance of cortisol. So I should mention, your body creates cortisol based on a feedback loop. If there's a lot of cortisol, then your body is going to make less and less in response. And same thing with the opposite way. If it notices there's no cortisol at a time when there's supposed to be a lot of cortisol, then your body is going to make a lot more. And that is very key. Your body can register, oh, there's a lot of cortisol, let's slow it down. And another thing to keep in mind, cortisol stays active or alive. It is in your system for a lot longer than other hormones. So it sticks around for a while. I need you to keep that all in mind as I'm going through my instructions here. So anyway, the negative feedback in your hypothalamus registers an abundance of cortisol, and it compensates. It produces less cortisol when phase 3 comes. So when it's supposed to be at your highest, right? It registers, oh, there's too much cortisol, let's slow it down, and it slows down when your phase 3 comes along. So less in the morning, and that's when you need it most. That is when you need it for energy. That is when it brings energy to your brain, to your body, to your tissues, in order to have the energy and motivation and focus to start your day. So you wake up foggy, flat, and unmotivated. You reach for the caffeine immediately, and it barely makes a difference, right? And then on top of it all, you feel tired again by 2 or 3 p.m. Your face looks puffy, your midsection holds weight, and you can't explain it, just all these negative effects. So we want want to focus on keeping that nighttime cortisol as low as possible and keeping your morning cortisol as high as possible in order to support that feedback loop in a way that benefits us. And these are some of the things that drive your nighttime cortisol up, the things you want to avoid. Late workouts close to bedtime. This is hard for me. I often work out close to nighttime. Like I wake up or I work out around 6 or 7 on my really busy days. And it actually, studies show that if you work out at the same time every single day, your cortisol tends to not spike quite as much. But what's also really interesting is your cortisol, or your body just learns, oh, you always work out during this time of day. So cortisol actually starts to rise before that time of the day to give you the energy you need to complete the workout. And even if you don't have a workout out that day, let's say I always work out around 6 p.m. and I just don't work out that day, I will still have a spike in cortisol regardless for my body preparing to work out or exercise and give my tissues the energy it needs. But we want to avoid this in order to support the best cortisol rhythm as possible. So I've started to try to work out more in the mornings or in the late afternoon to support this cortisol cycle. Scrolling under bright artificial light at night is also very negative. Any artificial light, especially overhead light, bright lights in the evening time, is very negative on your cortisol rhythm. Dim lights, turn off the screens an hour before just to support your cortisol rhythms. High stress at night with no nervous system regulation is also very negative for your cortisol rhythm. Eating starchy comfort foods at night is also ineffective. So if you eat those really starchy, heavy foods at night, it will make you more tired, but it also reduces cortisol levels in the morning because your body's like, oh, I already had the blood sugar, no need to release cortisol. But also not getting morning sunlight is very detrimental to your cortisol levels. Every one of the things I mentioned is common, daily, and normalized behavior, right? But every single one of them is slowly reshaping your face and your body. So avoid it. Let's get into how to fix it. The single most powerful thing you can do for your cortisol is optimize the morning window. Here is your protocol, and this is not optional if you are serious about lowering your cortisol levels. First, sunlight within the first 30 minutes of waking. Go outside, look towards the sky. Not directly at the sun, obviously, even if it's overcast. Honestly, especially if it's overcast, because that means it's going to be dimmer throughout the day. The single action increases morning cortisol by approximately 50%, which is quite significant. This boosts energy, mood, and motivation immediately. If you're in a location without sunlight, or if you're like me and you tend to wake up a couple hours before the sun's even up, a 10,000 lux lamp is your replacement. So get that. I personally don't want to spend the money on a 10,000 lux lamp. Like, that's not necessarily in my budget at this point in time. So I just get sunlight as soon as I can when the sun comes up. But if you're somewhere like Alaska or somewhere near the poles where your sun sometimes doesn't even come up, investing in that 10,000 lux lamp is absolutely worth every single penny. Next, you want to drink a lot of water in the morning, and you want to drink it immediately within that 30-minute window. Water first thing in the morning amplifies the cortisol morning spike. Before coffee, before anything. Do not drink your coffee before your water, if that's not obvious. And another thing, delay your caffeine by 90 minutes. This is huge for your cortisol rhythm. If you drink coffee the moment you wake up, coffee obviously spikes your cortisol. If you drink coffee a lot, it spikes it quite less than if you're somebody who doesn't drink coffee every day. But the caffeine and the cortisol curve crashes immediately. So imagine the cortisol and the caffeine curve like this. If you drink it first thing in the morning, then it's like this, and then you're down. And that's why you're always tired at 2 or 3 p.m. Wait 90 minutes. Maybe 60 if you can't do 90. But wait at least an hour after you wake up to drink your caffeine. And then it just tends to reduce the angle of your cortisol and caffeine spike. And this way you have energy throughout the day and you're not crashing hard at 3 p.m. And next, as I said, exercise and entrainment. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but if you train consistency within the same 2 to 3 hour window every single day, your body begins to preemptively spike your cortisol in anticipation for your workout. You will notice energy building at the same time, even on your rest days. This is your body working with you. This is cortisol doing what it's supposed to do, delivering energy to the tissues to take on whatever needs to be taken on. Here is your challenge, your homework. This is what you are going to do to correct your cortisol levels, reduce or get rid of moon phase, get rid of the extra fat in your neck, in your midsection. You boost your mood, your energy levels, and your motivation throughout your day and your focus. It's literally all in one. You're getting so much just by doing these 4 very simple things. Excuse me, 3 simple things. For the next 7 days, I want you to do these 3 things. I want you to make them your focus, your intention, prioritize this in your daily routine. Get sunlight or a 10,000 lux lamp within 30 minutes of waking up. Every single day, make it a priority. Put it in your checklist. Set an alarm for 30 minutes after you wake up. Go look at the damn sun. Drink a full glass of water before your coffee every single day. I drink a full liter of water before my coffee within 30 minutes of waking up. And push your caffeine back minimum 30 minutes back from waking, ideally 90 minutes. And we are doing this every single day. You're doing every single one of these every single day. And that's it. 3 things, 7 days. And then I want you to come back here, drop a comment below or come and find me and tell me what has changed in your energy, in your mood, how your face looks in the morning, because you'll notice, and I want to hear about it. I promise you'll notice. Screenshot your starting point if you want. You are here. This is your starting point. Take a picture of your face, of your body, whatever. And also maybe if you're feeling that extra level, motivation, whatever, write it down. Journal how your energy levels feel throughout the day, how your anxiety levels throughout the day feel, because this is also going to make a difference in that if you're very serious about it. I'm so excited to hear from you guys. Your body, I want to make it clear, and this is what I want to leave you with. Your body is not working against you. Cortisol is not working against you. It is not your enemy. It is communicating. And now you know how to listen. If this landed for you, share it. Send it to a friend who's been talking about feeling exhausted, put out, and bloated, and they don't know why, because she needs to hear this. And that is all for me today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I said, share with a family member or friend, fellow icon in training, so we can build our community and build off of each other. If you know anything about the subject, be sure to share in the comments. Back one more time, my phone overheated again. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow my personal Instagram, Monet_Clough. Follow my TikTok where I post my challenge updates. And be sure to comment anything that you would like to. Anything you know about cortisol, any books that I really need to read, anything, just say hi. Comment that you learned something. I don't know. Just build our community, gorgeous humans. Bye. I love you. Bye.